I wanted to talk about what I would call linkable assets. In other words, how do we understand how the authority system works on Google, as in why you front page or not? And a massive part of it, basically how Google works, is authority and trust. So if someone links to you, um, that's a vote for your website. It's a yeah, we like this. Okay, so if I had a blog on whatever it might be, let's say it's a construction site, and I had a blog on property. I don't know. And I linked and said these guys are actually really good. Okay, you link from. We use them every day. We click the link, and it goes through to their site. Okay, and that is essentially a vote. Now, it's far more complex, and maybe that's a separate conversation about the authority and relevancy of the link, of where the link has come from, but essentially it's still a vote. I wouldn't link to you if I thought your site was not good. Yeah? Okay, so that's how the Google system actually works. So we need to understand your authority. Where are you in this landscape? Well, I can tell you. Just get in touch to tell you exactly what your competitors' authority and rankings are. I can tell you what yours are in comparison and what you might need to do. So, in this landscape, what do we need to do long term to build our authority and trust with Google? Well, the way I term it is linkable assets. In other words, well, there's two really. One is, what are your existing linkable assets? Where are your mates? In other words, this is maybe a silly example. It's just a very initial, questions, really. Some of them won't be relevant to you, to your business. But as you can see, this commercial understanding is really trying to root out where your linkable assets are. And 9 times out of 10, you will have loads which you're just not taking advantage of to build your authority. When you've exhausted that, because they're free, they're your friends, you're already there. You have to research it, find out where they are, find out where your opportunities are, and that's why we start to go through some of these questions. But the second element is, how do we create linkable assets? How do we create content marketing, of course, which is a very popular thing to talk about, at least. Sometimes I think it can be a bit of a red herring unless it's properly thought through. But either way, how do we get powerful, authoritative websites that are talking about your subject to link directly, and where do we point them to? This is the other question. Which pages do we point these links to? So I think it's an interesting subject to talk about, because it has such an impact on rankings online, on what we have, what we can create, where do we point them to, where's our priorities, and start to build out a properly thought through linkable strategy. So if you wanted to talk through that and maybe go through the research, look at, this is just a small document. It's just an initial, let's have a look where you are. But the research needs to be done if you're going to do it properly and make an impact. So are you number 11, just under front page on a certain page that's important to you? Let's send a highly authoritative and a highly relevant link into that page, and up you go. So we need to start to think about these things and begin to build a strategy of what we can do. What are our assets now? How do we make the biggest impact possible? What can we do? And where do we point it to? So, if you wanted to talk through those elements and understand it, I have all the research tools with which to do this work. And even if I teach you guys how to do it, or I do it for you, it doesn't matter. But at least let's get the information, because it's so important to your online presence. Okay. Give me a shout. Get in touch on email or whatever, and we can talk through your specific situation. Okay. Thanks. Bye.